You know, when we think about heart health, our minds immediately go to the usual stuff, right? Eat your greens, hit the gym. But what if I told you one of the biggest factors for your heart's health has absolutely nothing to do with what's on your plate or how many miles you run? We're about to dive into a connection that could totally change how you think about staying healthy.
I know, it sounds a little out there, doesn't it? But seriously, could being lonely be just as damaging to your heart as a diet full of junk food? New research is basically forcing us to ask that exact question. And the answer, which was uncovered with some seriously cutting-edge AI, might actually blow you away. It points to this hidden threat that so many of us just overlook every single day.
So let's just set the stage here. It's no secret that heart disease has been the #1 killer on the planet for decades. And because of that, researchers are always on the hunt for new clues, looking for risk factors that go beyond the really obvious stuff. And that hunt is leading them somewhere really interesting, into our social lives. This isn't some fringe idea anymore. In fact, even the American Heart Association is now telling doctors, hey, you need to start paying attention to what are called social determinants of health. This is the exact question that a team at the world-famous Mayo Clinic decided to tackle head-on. They wondered, could the strength of your bonds with your family, your friends, your community, could that actually be a literal prescription for your heart?
That's where this idea of social determinants of health comes into play. It's kind of a fancy term, but it just means that your health isn't only about your genes or your choices. It's also deeply shaped by your environment and your life circumstances. The team at Mayo Clinic wanted to figure out just how deep that connection really goes.
Okay, but how do you even measure something like this? You can't just ask people how they feel and call it a day. No, they needed hard biological data. So they set up this huge study using a really powerful AI to see if our social lives were literally physically aging our hearts. And when I say huge, I am not kidding. They looked at data from over 280,000 adults. A study of that size, that means the findings carry some serious weight. So what was their method? How did they pull this off? Well, their approach was actually pretty brilliant. They basically combined two totally different tools. On one hand, they used a standard questionnaire to give each person a score for how strong their social network was. On the other hand, they used this incredible AI that can look at a simple EKG, an electrocardiogram, and estimate the biological age of a person's heart. And by combining those two things, they created this really cool new metric they called the age gap. It's super simple. It's just the difference between your heart's AI-estimated age and your actual real age. Now, a positive number here, that's not what you want to see. It means your heart is biologically older than you are. All right, so they've got all this data from 250,000 people. They've got their age gap metric. What do they find? Well, after crunching all those numbers, a really clear and frankly, pretty shocking pattern started to emerge. The link between someone's social life and their heart's age, it was undeniable. Get this, the people with the weakest social networks, the ones who were the most isolated, had hearts that were, on average, more than 2 years biologically older than their actual age. Just let that sink in for a second. Their loneliness was literally written on their hearts. But wait, it gets even more serious. When the researchers looked at mortality rates, they found that the most socially isolated people had a nearly 47% higher risk of death from any cause compared to the people who were the most connected. Wow, that is an absolutely staggering statistic. So let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here. First, having a strong social life is directly connected to having a biologically younger heart. Plain and simple. Second, this connection was there even in people who had no history of heart problems. And finally, this wasn't just true for one group, it applied across the board to all ages and all genders. This seems to be a universal human thing. And you don't just have to take my word for it. The study's lead author, Dr. Nazanin Rajai, put it perfectly. She said, this research suggests that building up our communities isn't just a nice to have. It could be a real, powerful medical tool to help us live longer, healthier lives. So what does this all mean for us? This isn't just some interesting factoid for a science journal. It has some really profound implications for how we should think about our own health, and honestly, for how our whole society approaches healthcare. Here's the bottom line. For way too long, we've treated our mental and social well-being as if they're totally separate from our physical health. This study is just more proof that that's a huge mistake. Our connections, our friendships, they aren't just feelings. They're a fundamental part of our physical biology. This kind of research points to a future that looks a little different. Imagine going to your doctor, and they don't just check your blood pressure, they also ask about your social network. Imagine getting a prescription that's not for a pill, but to join a club or volunteer or get involved in your community, all designed to fight loneliness and, as we now know, keep your heart healthy.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? This research isn't just about numbers in a study. It's about us. It's an invitation to look at our own lives and ask a really important question. If connection is a prescription, how strong is my dose? It's a question worth taking to heart. Thanks for joining me.